This is very much a European Commission project to encourage debate and discussion about nanotechnology, and I'm sure you'll agree it's a very worthy subject to discuss given how impactful this is going to be on our lives.
You can think of a cell like a city. So if that one of those cells you were just looking at the back of your hand was the size of London, well, then we can start talking about what nano is. This word nano, which is banded around, is all part of the technology. Because if the cell, just one of your cells, is the size of London, then the distance of a nanometer, which is the size that people talk about, which is this technology that is becoming revolutionary, is about the size of a car.
And the structure and physical properties are mainly for mechanical or thermal and other things, but one of the biggest ones will be in tissue engineering for making new organs. And I think as people get older, spare part surgery will increase. And maybe you may want to put things like scaffolds for stem cells. It would be much better if we could repair the cartilage of hip joint, for example, rather than putting in an implant. As we hear already, there's been problems with some implants. So this is an area which I think can help aging population.
I'm a human plumber because I deal with blocked and burst vessels or blood pipes in a human being. Now that brings a number of challenges, and of course what I always want to try and do is to avoid having to operate on a patient with a burst or blood blocked vessel. And one of the reasons I have engaged myself in advanced technologies in healthcare is because I do believe that these technologies afford us the opportunity to detect disease at a much earlier stage so that we can do something about it before the patient comes into the hospital with a life or limb-threatening complication.
So Janus is part of nanotechnology. This deity is represented in nanotechnology because you have a very powerful technology with enhanced functionality, which obviously it's lending itself for high risk for misuse. So if you're looking at advances in nanotechnology, they have been spreading rapidly, but at the same time you have expectations building from various fronts: political, industrial, academic. So we're stuck in the middle looking at both directions.
The one thing that I've learnt is that it's not going to suddenly happen tomorrow, and indeed the timescales are quite lengthy. I think we're now about here. We've done a lot of discovery and a certain amount of preclinical work has been done, but we've now got the long haul of taking either drug development or novel device development through a very long haul of 10 to 20 years. And this is good news and bad news. The good news is it means that we'll be able to safeguard against any harmful effects by going through those trials. The bad news, of course, is if you're a company trying to make money out of this, you've got to be patient.
How do you make this stuff available to everyone in this room?
We just couldn't get the long, patient investment that's needed to translate something like this. This is something I believe being looked at right now, the valley of death syndrome that small companies get in.
I think in Britain we have expected venture capital to do more than it's expected to do in other areas. We've stopped our funding too far upstream, and the so-called valley of death has happened when the Research Council funding has stopped. So there is a valley of death. We do need to put more effort in that. The NHS can help because it's a place where you can test a lot of these technologies.
Thank you very much for coming, everyone, and thank you very much to our panel too. If we can give them a round of applause and we go for drinks.